All right, let's get the Select Board meeting of February 10th, 2025 underway. The time is 6:30. We're in the Town Hall, Select Board Chamber. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open the Select Board meeting for February 10, 2025.
Okay. So I'd like to just start off with a little bit about what we have going this evening. So we have an amended agenda for this evening. This is a hybrid meeting, and this amended agenda came through at a stamp of 441, and that is to include number 12 on our action items, and that was to accept a disclosure from our town administrator regarding financial interests as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 19, and the disclosures being filed because the town administrator serves on the Mayflower Municipal Health Group Steering Committee. Okay, we also have a board discussion this evening that will be tabled. It's my understanding that the board discussion is being tabled because there has been some work, and the work in meetings is still pending, so that's the reason for that. But everything else seems to be as we expect, and currently I have returned the public comment portion, and there were no public comments for this evening. So I'd like to ask everybody to join me in a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. So we also have MCM is part of our taping system, so that's available for everybody, and that is being recorded. Tonight, I just want to reiterate what's been happening here in town. We've had a little snow. I'd like to send out a big thanks to our DPW for keeping our streets clean and our residents safe. It was a little bit of snow here, a little bit of snow there, and they're doing a great job, and I understand the forecast is a continuation of more of the same. So I'd like to give a shout out to them. We also on Friday we had a kind of like a announcement that the town is in favor of acknowledging the importance of heart disease, and Michael was nice enough to illuminate our town hall in red, and many of us wore red that day, and so I'm wearing red today as well, and obviously Valentine's Day is this week, so it was kind of apropos. But in light of everything we have this evening, I'd just like to welcome our members here and the public, and let's get this meeting underway. So I'd like to start with our town administrator report. And would you like to do this first?
If we maybe defer to the county commissioner. And
Absolutely. So this evening, we have our county commissioners here, two of them, and our treasurer as well. So I'd like to introduce you, and we have 4 plaques that we are going to hand you. And if you'd like to share with the board, actually the microphone's right there, and come up and present your welcome.
I don't know. I'll sit on the end.
Oh,
Yep.
I'll sit over.
Thank you.
this is that way if they start acting up.
Absolutely. So again, thank you, and thank you for signing the checks to the town of Marshfield.
You're
welcome.
very welcome. That's definitely his role, Madam Chair.
Yes, I know.
I'm
but you
Jared.
supported that.
Yes. Oh, yes,
Yes,
we did.
you did.
I'm Jared Valenzola, Chair of the County Commissioner and Chair of the Board. Joined this evening by Commissioner Wright as well as Plymouth County Treasurer Tom O'Brien. We do bring the regrets of our third colleague, Commissioner Hanley. He unfortunately had some family matters he had to tend to, so he couldn't join us this evening. But I know that we've talked often and we've been here often, which is great because Mr. Maresco and the entire team that you have here in Town Hall have not only been one of the greatest utilizers of both CARES funds and ARPA funds. But as you may recall, as we've discussed our previous visits here, when my colleagues, because I wasn't quite elected yet, decided to undertake the CARES Act, there were a handful of communities that derided the idea of Plymouth County doing that program, as well as the prior administration in the corner office. Mr. Maresco and you folks in this entire town was probably the loudest in support of Plymouth County. So we truly are grateful for the support the town of Marshfield gave us. As I like to say, we would not be successful without the member communities. This program, we had decided early on, both with CARES and now ARPA, that these funds are best served in the member communities, and utilizing those funds for your town to do so many of the projects that otherwise would have been put off, or it had to have been bonded, or who knows, right? There just would have been things that would have taken a back burner that these funds are really able to do. And Marshfield has certainly been an incredible utilizer of these funds and really a true partner. And I know you're going to hear that repeated because I think from the bottom of our hearts, we're really grateful, especially to the town of Marshfield, for all of your support for these programs. And of course, doing a vaccine clinic and the COVID testing was remarkable. It was useful for folks in the area. It was convenient and useful. Convenience a better word for folks in the area to be able to come to Marshfield and just again the forward thinking that we have in Marshfield. So as I often say, I don't want to take too much thunder from my colleagues that are here. I'll go to Commissioner Wright, and then Treasurer O'Brien will fill in whatever her and I have forgotten to say. And then we do have a check for $706,908.28 to deliver to you folks. So, Commissioner Wright.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having us here this evening. And whatever I forget, then Treasurer O'Brien will pick up where we left off. I truly want to thank you. Marshfield has been extraordinary to work with. Your staff, everybody has been fantastic, and through these difficult times, and I know back 4 years ago, the last 4 years, we've experienced something that we've never been able to, or never had before, as far as I've been alive anyway. So we greatly appreciate everybody coming together and being a team, and your administration, and but the most significant thing that we undertook was the administrating of the CARES Act and the ARPA funds, delivering twice as much money in half the time, and only at 1% administrative fee. I don't know if that's gone up to 1.5 or 1.25 it was, but I think it's 1% still, right? We're just finishing up on the ARPA. So I also wanted, as I am here tonight, I would like to also give you some figures of the monies that we have given to you. I'd also like to say thank you to Stephen Darcy for being on our advisory board. It's a great experience to have you, and for you to also learn the traits of what Plymouth County does. So thank you for helping there. So over the past, between CARES Act and ARPA funds, CARES Act, we gave you $4,784,814.47. For ARPA, it was $4,665,783.31, giving you a total of $9,450,597.78. That's over the course of the last few years through ARPA and CARES. So that task was not so easy on so many people, but we greatly appreciate all your help and support. And, I know for the commissioners and myself, we are just grateful that we had such a great team to work with. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, to fill in whatever we may have forgot or gotten wrong, we have Treasurer O'Brien.
Yes.
Thank you very much. No, you folks were spot on. Just if I might, a moment of personal privilege. I heard earlier mention of the fact that Town Administrator Maresco serves on the Mayflower Municipal Health Group on the steering committee. I am the treasurer for that organization as well. I just want to thank you for lending him to us, and to the residents for lending him to us. He has been a hugely valued partner on the Mayflower Municipal Health Group. I'm sure he's given you reports about our, I was going to say stunning, but remarkable success that we've had and how we're well positioned for the future, particularly as health insurance rates are rising dramatically around the country and here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Mayflower Group is a solid, stable rock, and that doesn't happen without Michael at the table. So we really appreciate him and his involvement. I just thought I would add that in, and we have a steering committee meeting tomorrow morning, so he can thank me then. with respect to ARPA, I wanted to make sure I was here this evening. I haven't been able to make every one of the meetings. I know the commissioners are very good about it, but they leave me back, making sure I'm writing out checks and balancing the budget. But I wanted to be here because I think what Marshfield did during the pandemic, not just for your residents, but for the residents of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and even outside, was absolutely just superhuman, and was really what makes this town so special and this country so special. We were faced with an unprecedented pandemic, and no one knew how we were going to deal with that. In fact, I remember the federal government was trying to figure things out, putting pieces of the puzzle together. The state was trying to figure out how to open clinics and testing centers. And Marshfield, the town of Marshfield, stepped up and said, we have a place, we have some resources, and we're going to dedicate those resources. We hope, we expect, we think that we'll get reimbursed from the feds, from the state, and from the county. You guys were very excited about the partnership with the county because we were able to provide some test kits to you immediately when the rest of the state couldn't find any of those test kits. We were able to secure those and deliver them to the town. But you created this response that was truly remarkable and life-saving. Sometimes those phrases get bandied about a little too colloquially, but it was absolutely the case in this situation. And I know this because I became a point person where people would call me and ask me what to do, and my answer was go to Marshfield. And I've since learned that there were people around this. I didn't realize how far people were coming to come here to get vaccinated and to deal with the crises they were facing. And so when the town administrator called me and mentioned that as you were going through your financial analysis of all that you had done, and that you had a little bit more than $700,000 that you had put forward and were looking for some assistance, and that the feds weren't able to do anything and the state maybe wasn't able to do anything, but you knew that your partner in Plymouth County would help if they could. And I can tell you, when I went to the commissioners, and I cannot thank them enough, Commissioner Valenzola, Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Hanley, and said Marshfield has this additional cost. They have no expectation of reimbursement, but I think what they did deserves our assistance, our help, and our appreciation. And they said, absolutely, figure out how to make it happen, dedicate some resources when and if you can. I work closely with the administrator to make that happen, because it's not easy. There's only one piece of pie, and we have to figure out a way to make sure to get this piece to Marshfield. But after some really good conversations and some work and some pencil sharpening on my part and my team's part, we found a way to do that. And I just remember the day I was able to call Michael and to say, I have some good news. Not only have the commissioners tasked me with finding this and they want to support it, but we found the resource. He said, oh, are you able to give a couple $100,000? I said, we're going to be able to deliver more than $700,000. So we're just thrilled to be here today to thank you and the town and your residents and your public safety officials. I know that your police and your fire were instrumental. The sheriff's department stepped in and provided resources. Other folks from the region did. But what you did during the pandemic saved lives and really was a beacon of responsibility and success in a very difficult time period. So thank you from Plymouth County. We actually have the real check here. I'm just noticing it's check number 1,300 even, but it's for the exact amount. I will give it to your administrator, and then we can all watch and see what he does with it. I'm sure he will turn it over to the appropriate folks. And then we have a big check where we're hoping we might be able to get a picture with you folks, because we always do like proof that we were in the town. So it's a little hard with the smaller check, so we bring along the bigger check to show that we were here. But thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for what you guys did here in the town of Marshfield.
And as we say, our records go back to the Pilgrims, so we need to add something to the collection of history that has been Plymouth County, just our little mark on it. So we thank you, Madam Chair. We actually do, Commissioner Wright has some 400th anniversary of Plymouth County pins that she'd like to give. But other than that, happy to take questions if appropriate. If not,
I'm so sorry.
she's breaking the place too.
It dropped in his water.
Oh, no.
Oh, good.
So it's Christmas.
Well, it does have the Mayflower on there, so it should have floated, right?
Floated, yeah.
You couldn't do that again if you tried,
Right.
probably.
Oh, and I'm surprised we did forget, but Senator O'Connor, as well as Rep. Kearney and Rep. Sweezy, have all been good partners of us as well. I know Rep. Sweezy is new, but he's hit the ground running.
Yep.
And of course, Senator O'Connor and Rep. Kearney have been steadily representing the town of Marshfield for many years. So they were very instrumental and very helpful, too, in making sure that these funds came here. So
Excellent.
happy to take questions. If not,
So
Yeah.
I'd just like to, one more time, thank you so much, because honestly, this is kind of coming from a person that didn't really understand ARPA, didn't really understand CARES, but I knew I inherited some really great people when I started here. My daughter was a nurse. She was, honestly, she was wearing the tree guards, because at that point, they didn't even have the gear. She ended up getting pregnant during the process. We had to go out to Gillette to help her to get vaccinated. And I know there's a lot of different dialogue, I guess, in regards to what happened with the shots and all of that. But from where I stand and from where I sit, and the stress that our family witnessed, and the pain and suffering that a lot of our friends were going through, I just want to appreciate everybody, our volunteers. Like you said, it's in this case, it took a village, but it wasn't just Marshfield.
Right.
It was the larger community, and people were traveling from everywhere. So I don't want that to be diminished by some of the different chatter out there. But would you like to add something as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Well, I wanted to thank all of you for having the courage to first apply for the CARES Act funding and the ARPA funding, because after that, a lot of county governments wanted to copy you and follow the example that you had set. And I know that you really had the screws put into you by the state to give that money over to them, but you knew that you could ascertain the needs of the communities in Plymouth County better than the state could, and that you could do it more efficiently and, frankly, a heck of a lot faster, too, and that's exactly what you did. And based on the numbers that Commissioner Wright rattled off, you literally kept track of every single penny that you spent and gave out in CARES Act funding and ARPA funding, and the administrative cost with which you're able to do it was absolutely incredible, and you ensured that as much money as possible went to communities in Plymouth County. And thanks to you guys, we were able to get air filtration systems for our schools and town buildings. We were able to get laptops for our students who, were stuck attending school remotely. We were able to get ambulances, fire trucks, and address long overdue and critical infrastructure needs, and that was all possible because of you. So I hope that you feel the impact of what you did and how special it was. And again, with the screws put into you, the start was stressful, but hopefully, tonight, the ending, I hope you know how great it was, and what you guys did was a pretty incredible triumph. And I think just the last note that I want to leave on is, I know that you guys put a little bit of trivia and history in the check number, the big check number, so I don't know if you wanted to go into that, and thank you guys again so much.
Thank you. Well, and I appreciate that, Mr. Darcy. One of the things, and these two especially, you've heard me talk about, especially with the equipment for students, through CARES Act funding, the county was able to provide a Chromebook for every student in the city of Brockton. And when I first met with the mayor about that, this has stuck with me all along. During the pandemic, major cities, and lost kids is not the proper term, but for a lot of students in major cities, the only time that they have adult interaction is when they're in that school building. And when the pandemic hit and those students were at home, the city could not get in touch with their parents or their caregivers. And thankfully, I think most of those students found their way back when school was open. The city of Brockton never had that problem. They were able to provide a Chromebook for every student, and those students were on those Chromebooks. So that's always been, and I'm glad Marshfield was the same way, but that has always stuck with me, just that impact, and how something that might seem so small as buying those Chromebooks mattered. I mean, you can read the stories across the country. It wasn't just Massachusetts, of major cities having that issue, especially for at-risk, vulnerable youth. So we're really proud of that our ability to have done that. And again, it's a partnership. You pointed out a lot of folks had a lot of consternation. When it came to the distribution of these funds, and the chair pointed it out, we were happy to be able to provide, especially for services like this, if people needed to be vaccinated, they didn't have to go to Gillette anymore. They didn't have to go out of their way. If they wanted to and they needed to, they could come to Marshfield, they could go somewhere local, probably see a familiar face too. And so then to answer your question, there are 3 Easter eggs on the check, which is my favorite thing. I don't know if the treasurer wants to cede me this, because these were his ideas.
I will, as long
These-
as you give me credit. So thank you.
Yeah, the check is in front. The treasurer was early, so he set the whole thing up. So if you look at the account number, which off the top of my head, I think is 1220, 1620 or 1221? It is 1220, 1620, which of course is the day the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth. The second number is 521385, I think, and that is the population of Plymouth County as of the last census. And then 1685, which was the year that Plymouth County itself was established. As most folks know, we were founded by the Pilgrims, and then, of course, the Crown gave the Mass Bay Colony their charter, and in 1685 they merged, and that's when Plymouth County was created. So a little bit after Marshfield was founded as a community, but again, we've just been so grateful, and I know we've probably gone a little longer than we usually do, but I think we're really, Marshfield really did stand out for us. All our communities do, and we love them all equally, of course.
Just like your children.
Exactly. But we are just really grateful and always happy to be in Marshfield. Is this our last time here, unfortunately?
They-
I hope not.
they haven't- What I was going to say is they've received all their money, but I'm sure we're invited back.
Right, we might be invited back.
I just, if it's okay, Madam Chair.
Yes.
One of the points that was made, and I wanted to highlight this too, and I appreciate Mr. Darcy talking about this, is the administrative cost of these programs. It was remarkable when CARES came out, we were told that people were administering it between 5 to 7%, and we knew we could do it better. We did it for under 1%. We're one of only 5 organizations in the entire country that did it for that low an amount of administrative cost. What that meant is Commissioner Valenzola and Commissioner Wright like to remind everyone is more money for you. When we faced ARPA, a much bigger program, lots of rules. I don't know if you're aware, but they've changed the rules on ARPA 13 times. And so at least one person at this table had to read each one of those changes and in detail all 700 pages of the bill to understand what exactly was happening. And it was clear that the administrative costs were going to be more, and I reported that to the administrators, to the commissioners rather, and I said, I think we're going to have to, have a little bit more of an administrative cost. I was shocked to learn that around the country, the average was about 7.5%, because I had told them that we could do it between 3 and 5%, and we ended up doing it for between 1 and 1.25%, because we partnered with the other counties and they were able to share those costs of the portal. Again, more money back to you. It is clear that between the 2 programs, we are probably a nation leader in how low our administrative costs were. And that's really a benefit, and we're pretty proud of that. So I thought I might take the chance, since you had mentioned it, just to highlight that so your residents could understand the benefit of the county back to them.
Okay, thank you. Eric Kelly?
Just want to say, I guess, thank you. I mean, returning the citizens' tax dollars back to them for money spent on something that should have never happened, in my opinion. It's unfortunate, and the way the government handled it and everything else like that, I think it was a crime. There's other alternatives out there to before getting anybody all hyped up over this COVID thing, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully we'll never see this again, especially the impact that it had on our kids all around. And so thank you for returning the taxpayers' money to them for what they spent for this.
All right. Well, I'd like to present our plaques to you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
And Michael, is there
Then do a
anything you'd like
picture.
to add? 'Cause
I-
Michael was,
I just,
Really?
Madam Chair, if I may, I
Yes.
just, want to echo, I think, what the board members had said, and, the county was spot on. At the very beginning, some of my counterparts were not overly supportive, so I reached out to a number of them. And, when you hear the commissioners and the treasurer talk about the success, it's because of their great work, and they were able to make sure that the communities got every dollar, and we know how vitally important those dollars were here. Steve rattled off a number of the projects and how we were able to help kids, the schools, our seniors. We touched on everyone, plus vaccinating well over 100,000 people. It was one stop. They drove in. They never had to get out of their car, and it was really thanks to the county commissioners and to the Plymouth County Treasurer for taking care of all those funds and providing those to a town like Marshfield. So it was exciting. Thank you.
Happy to do it.
Great.
Thank you. So I'd like to present, we'll come out in front here.
And after we present them, we can take a little break and do a photo.
Yes.
Yeah. Want us to each take one?
Sure.
Nice.
Oh,
Where do you want us to come?
Why don't you just come right in front?
no.
So presented to Plymouth County Commissioners, Jared L. Valenzola. In appreciation of your unwavering support and assistance through the administration of the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan Act on behalf of the town of Marshfield. Presented this day, February 10th, 2025, by the Select Board, Wendy Fidler, Chair, Stephen R. Darcy, Vice Chair, Eric S. Kelly, Clerk, and Town Administrator Michael Masco. I really appreciate all the hard work.
very nice.
So Brian, I don't think I have to read.
No, it's,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you.
You're right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, yes.
You guys
So
absolutely
appreciate it, yes.
Do we do like speech like awards shows?
No.
And that would be for Commissioner Handley. Great. Thank you very, very much.
This is very nice.
Yes,
We
it's-
really do appreciate it.
There's nothing.
Wanted to make sure you
really
remembered us.
reason. It's gold, you know.
No, I love it.
It's beautiful,
It's gonna
yes,
go up.
it has everything.
It's great in our offices.
Yes.
So thank you.
I wish they could have been.
No,
bigger
it's so
and-
perfect.
You didn't want it too, it's the right size.
I keep space in the wall for the other ones.
These are much
Michael
better.
I agree.
If we can get a picture with all of you with the check,
Yes.
I'll set these down.
You hold, okay. I'm gonna give mine to someone if I may. Yeah, we gotta give them money too. We have something, you got something?
Thank you. Oh, thank
You were talking about framing tickets earlier?
Yes.
You should frame the giant check, I hope.
I think we will.
you. It has literally been beaten up.
This has been in the wind,
It
and the
has.
rain.
Oh, it
and
has.
the- Yes.
I've told the,
We want to be right in the middle of the road.
Yes.
Sure.
well, I've told the story, what was I saying?
Get in here.
The paparazzi is in.
Ready? Switch phones.
Three there, huh?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Especially with a check.
Alrighty.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so
Very
much.
nice to meet you, and thank you for coming to Marshfield.
I'm so sorry I dropped it.
There's no plastic bag, so it worked out, you know? Thanks for coming, man.
Yes, perfect. Great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for going to the admin class too, after.
Yeah, no.
That was
You
incredible.
glad you touched base on it?
Do you want to take a little recess, Michael?
Yes.
Motion to take a 3-minute recess. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote for a short recess.
All right, I just want everybody to win it.
Order. The time is 7:04. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to come back into session.
Okay, thank you. Right before we started, I was going to ask our town administrator to do his report, but I'll ask him to do it now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had my weekly call into WATD to discuss current events, review the Select Board agenda, hosted a weekly DPW meeting with Sean Patterson, Sharon Studley, John Strobel, Meg LeMay, Ken Ryan, Clint Stetson, and Paul Duross to discuss moving to quarterly billing for water and sewer. DPW is working to get the town to quarterly billing. They'll need some additional staff, as highlighted by Paul Duross. They'll need 2 field technicians and 1 additional office person. Ideally, it would make sense to begin quarterly billing either July 25th or July of 2025 or January of 2026, coincide with Munis integration for billing. According to Paul Duros, about 400 homes have meters that would need to be replaced before that because of their age and their ability to register reads. I had a meeting with our facilities and Sean Strobel and Meg to review ongoing capital projects, including the police and DPW projects. Participated in the meeting at the library with Fred, Tony, Cindy, and Select Board Member Kelly to review the bathroom project, roof issues, generator, underground conduit, and waterproofing the right side of the old supermarket where the fans were located. Hosted a meeting with Bob from Fleet Management regarding town vehicles as the way to lower our cost to purchase leased town vehicles with Fleet Management, with DPW, police, and other departments that utilize town vehicles. We attended the memorial service for Faith Jean, former Select Board member who served for 9 years. Her memorial service was at Brent Rock Chapel. I actually took her seat on the Select Board when I was first elected. And we'll add her name to that plaque up there that Mr. Darcy was instrumental in getting. So, I participated in the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust meeting on January 28th. I gave an update on the 115 Revere Street purchase by the trust. Trust discussed the steps necessary that be undertaken, identify what repairs need to happen, and the time frame. Building commissioners and our facility director will prepare a list of repairs for me to present at the next meeting of the trust. We also discussed selling the land at 1929 Main Street to Habitat to construct the affordable unit on that parcel that was set aside for affordable housing. Hosted an accessory dwelling unit meeting with our building commissioner, town council, the Board of Health, Greg Guimont, our planner, ZBA, and the Conservation Commission to review bylaws, potential warrant articles, and Board of Health regulations. ADUs are now allowed by right, but a building permit is required. If an ADU is 5 feet from a dwelling, it must be brought into the fire code for protection. ADUs must also follow conservation regulations. Had a meeting with Cindy Marcoux and our treasurer and town accountant to review personnel issues relating to salary for Sunday hours. The library, if they can find staff, they'll be open on some Sundays from the last Sunday in March through the first Sunday in June, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. noontime. Hosted a meeting with the assessor's office, Sean and Meg, to review the FY26 budget, new growth, and any unforeseen challenges. We also discussed the potential for a warrant article addressing the HEROES Act and some tax abatement exemption changes for seniors. Hosted a DIRT meeting, which is an acronym for developmental projects that include a project in Brant Rock that would have retail, residential, boardwalk, parking with lifts. Building commissioner suggested that the applicant file for a flood permit and demo permit. More information to follow once the plans have actually been submitted. I had a meeting with Mr. Darcy to review a number of ongoing issues, including the dog park development and South Shore Vocational Technical School. Hosted a bi-monthly meeting with our fire chief, Chief LaSalva, to review changes in his budget regarding personnel issues, sick employees, and the fire academy training for our newest firefighter beginning in February for 10 weeks. Capital requests and staffing levels. Staffing levels during the day, we have 11, and at night we have 10. We also discussed the replacement of the Hills Firehouse roof, working with the Historic Commission and the facilities on that. And work at the fire headquarters is almost completed with their new bathroom, showers, and lockers for our men and women. Participated in a special select board meeting for the select board to support the FY26 budget, so it could be turned over to the advisory board so that they could begin their review on and the necessary votes for the annual town meeting. That vote was a 2-to-1. Meeting with Kathy Sullivan regarding a historic commission issue. Hosted a meeting with Bob Galvin, Brian Murphy, Sean Patterson, and Bob Shaughnessy to discuss bridle path issues and the need to get a study completed by EPG to include the whole aquifer and not just one project, the bridle path development. DPW will have this on their agenda for February 10th, so the Board of Public Works can vote to authorize permission to complete the study for the ZBA. Test wells are in the process of being installed at the bridle path with EPG and the DPW. Hosted the weekly DPW meeting with Sean Patterson and staff We discussed beach nourishment project that must be completed by the end of this month, by February 28th. We also discussed the Plymouth Ave Pump Station project and DEP needing to approve the additional cost. Ken Ryan will deal with Ziad to get the particulars ironed out. They're also working with the State Revolving Fund paperwork through EPG. And we discussed some budget issues, maintenance, and CTG reclassification. Meeting with Greg Guimond regarding MBTA zoning issue and vote needed by the Select Board at their February 10th meeting. We also discussed the piping plover issue that we need to get one of our employees trained to be a monitor of the plover's activity. Town's beach administrator would be the best person to monitor the plovers, and this would be a cost savings for the town of about $10,000. Participated in the Age Dementia Friendly Steering Committee kickoff held in the Select Board Chamber on February 4th, 2025, with our chair, Lynn Fidler. We were joined by Caitlin Coyle and Beth Roulet from UMass Gerontology Department, and went through the action plan data and defined the steering committee's responsibility. Action plan will be looking at housing, transportation, outdoor spaces, health services, community needs, civic engagement, social participation, and communication. Attended the kickoff security meeting hosted by Artie Shaw, EOC Director, in preparation for the Levitate Festival and Marshfield Fair at the EOC. We also discussed a number of issues as we prepare to host those two very large events, including EMS services, security, and traffic issues. Participated in a cable taping for the FY26 budget with Rob Goitis from MCM. That will be on the town's website and MCM's website. Attended and participated in the Historic Commission meeting with Fred Russell, our facility director, to address a couple of historic town-owned properties that will need some maintenance to our facilities. The Hills Fire Station roof replacement, the Daniel Webster Estate requiring some safety issues to be employed, air circulation, basement flooring, and railings on the front steps. Joined Fred Russell for a tour of the fire headquarters, progress on their bathroom showers and lockers. It's made a huge difference in the firehouse for our men and women. Meeting with Sean and Meg to review a number of challenges regarding the South Shore Regional Technical Vocational as it relates to their capital budget and debt exclusion for the new high school. Hosted a meeting with IT to review the FY25 budget and FY26 budget challenges. Participated in a conference call with Harbor Master DeMayo and the Army Corps of Engineers regarding the jetty project and additional funds needed to comply with our match with the federal government for this project. Project has been a long time coming, but it will be worth the cost to get the jetties aligned correctly, and we were joined by our chair. Ms. Fidler was able to attend and participate in the conversation with the Army Corps. Hosted a DPW meeting regarding the EPG issue with the bridle path this past Friday with Bob Shaughnessy, who's the chair of the DPW, Sean Patterson, the superintendent, Bob Galvin, town council, Ed Eichner and Ed Pesci from the ZBA, their outside consultants, Mark Kaufman, Brian Murphy, chair of the ZBA, Anne Marie Turmerville regarding finishing the study. Brian Murphy, the chair of the ZBA, wants the study completed to include the whole aquifer, not just one project that was the focus of misinformation last summer. Bob Shaughnessy is in agreement with Brian Murphy to complete the study with running a model with the actual information. Finishing the study will include the actual plan, Zone 2 groundwater flow, some assumptions to be used on the subject property identified. Ed Pesci shared a color map of the area. The monitoring wells have been installed. Everyone is working together to protect the water supply. It would take 2 to 3 weeks to get the needed results. Everyone agreed using the same assumptions to be applied to the new areas as used in the original report. Ed said we'll review the results together and have a unified message after we meet on either February 27th or 28th. Based on this information, I would be recommending to the Select Board to postpone their board discussion on this matter until March 10th meeting of the Select Board. And that is my report, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Can you just, it said Ed is going to provide the unified message on that timeline in 2 to 3 weeks. Is it Ed Pesci?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All Alrighty, so we have a 6:35 appointment with RBSBW Inc., which is DBA Roach Brothers Supermarkets, application for change of manager of record. That would be our next, welcome, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Just take a seat. I'm going to read this in, but if you could just identify yourself for the record while I
Sure.
get myself.
John Elliott, I'm the store manager at Roach Brothers in Marshfield.
Okay. Alrighty. So this particular item is, as I just mentioned, supermarket intends to change the manager of record for the above referenced licensee from Lawrence Baxter to John Elliott. Mr. Elliott has been with Roach Brothers for many years and most recently has been the assistant store manager at Roach Brothers Supermarket. So we have quite a bit of information here. We have the filing fee, monetary transmittal form, manager application, vote of the entity, query form, proof of citizenship. And there was an amendment, however, that would be on the change of the manager, and that's what we're referring to here. I'm just going to go quickly through this. So we have for John Elliott, 20 Frisbee Road, Marshfield,
Yep.
and your phone number 978-804-8532.
That's
For our
correct.
references, still the same. So from November of '22 to present, assistant store manager, and prior to that, 2010 to 2022, you were also employed with Roach Brothers.
Correct.
Okay. So voted to authorize was Kevin Barner to sign the application submitted and to execute on the entity's behalf to appoint John Elliott. All right, that's pretty much it for what, so why don't you share with the board anything that you'd like to add to what I just said?
That's basically all the information. I've had several tours in the Marshfield store, so I've been around for a while. Worked in beer and wine stores before, so nothing really new for me.
Okay,
So I know the process and what the expectation
okay.
is.
Nothing stood out for me. Anything you'd like to add?
If Roach Brothers still rotates their managers every few years, I'm glad you'll have a better commute for a few years from Frisbee Road.
I'm coming from Natick, so this is a much better community.
Anything you'd like to say, Eric?
No, I just wish you well, the new store.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. In regards of that, and with no further questions, I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to approve the change of manager of record for RBSBW Inc., DBA Roach Brothers Supermarket at 605 Plain Street from Lawrence Baxter to John Elliott pending successful query report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the change of manager for Roach Brothers.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
sir.
You're welcome.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Okay. So we had a board discussion in the very beginning. I did inform on the record that we would be tabling this, so I'd like to just make a motion to table this board discussion, which is an investigation into the Department of Public Works appropriation of $120,000 for the Bridle Path project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to postpone discussion till March 10th.
Okay, so let's get into our action items. Is there anyone in this room that is on the action items? That, otherwise, okay, so I'm going to just stick with the number of items that we have and just get right to it. So we have the first action item is a discussion and vote on the 2025 action plan for MBTA communities. So in your binders, you will see that the action plan is provided here. It's been provided by our Planning Board, and Greg Eman has given us this. I'd like to share with everybody that it's up to the board this evening whether or not we accept this action plan, and by accepting this action plan, we would be moving this particular situation, I'm going to call it a situation because that's what we're in, to town meeting, or accepting the action plan would allow that procedure to occur, and if we do not accept the application, we would be in non-compliance. So with that being said, I'd just like to get the ball rolling a little bit here and kind of give you a little bit of insight to where my head is on this particular item. We all sat through the town meeting, and we did it in April, and then we did it again on December 16th. And during that time, there was a lot of opposition to this particular act. The MBT Communities Act was obviously really up in the forefront of everybody's thinking and how it's going to affect Marshfield, et cetera. So where I am on this right now is that we've taken Planning Board's recommendation twice. The second time, I was of the impression that it was something that we could and should vote to have it to be in compliance. And the reasoning for where I stood on that was because I really didn't think the merit was there in bringing it to court. But during that process, in the aftermath of the decision, which was very contentious and was obviously very pro-no, the numbers were there, I've had a chance to kind of listen and form my judgment as far as what's the best thing to do and what were our residents saying. So in the last, it was December 16th, so not a lot of time has come through us in that period of time. But so this particular action plan mimics what we had in the December 16th town meeting, and changing 305, section 12, and making the bylaw change. So I'm just going to quickly bring us up to speed a little bit on this. So 305-16.01 through 16.11 was exactly what was presented to our town meeting. And the bylaw change itself that was being proposed was over 10 pages. So it wasn't an easy bylaw change. But what we were really arguing, I think, was a combination of factors, whether or not we needed to be in compliance, or whether or not we were going to fight for our right to have our zoning dictated by Marshfield and not dictated by the state. So I don't think at this point that anything has changed. I really don't think that in the last 60 days or whatever, the people that I've spoken to aren't saying to me, hey, we need to be in compliance. They're really almost applauding the fact that we're not in compliance. So this particular action plan is not any different than what the residents argued with a no vote. So I can't in my head get around that. So that's where I stand right now. So I'm really, I'm going to go through it just so people can understand a little bit more about what we have in front of us tonight. But I'm a resident here too, and I just, if it was a different proposal, maybe we could be in a better situation as far as understanding what our residents, but I think we should be open to reconsidering, as the months go by, and we will definitely, the Attorney General will definitely be sending a letter if we do not vote to approve this action plan. But, so I'm just going to briefly go through this, and we'll get right to it. So the action plan itself, 2025, adjacent communities. And we had our Senator O'Connor and Rep. Sweezy here last week, and they talked about sending letters and trying to work on the bills that they are presenting and getting our input from Marshfield, and I would encourage everybody to do that. So the housing overview, nothing is different than it was before. It's the 40R that we all know about. The deadline itself is, I believe, this week, but we're looking at if we were to put this forward, there would be a public hearing on May 19th through the planning board. The EOHLC's compliance model was for January 8th, 2025, which is when we understood what we were up against. And we would be putting forward, as far as the planning board is proposing a June 2nd, 2025 town meeting. But submit the district compliance application to the EOHLC on June 9th and then again on June 11th. Signatures and certifications and attestments to this. So that's pretty much what we have in the packet. That I've kind of shared how I feel about it. So Steve, the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't think the outcome would be any different if this article was on town meeting again, so I don't think it's necessary to go back. If it was a close vote, that would be one thing, but it wasn't really close, and the margin was pretty significant, so I don't think we need to go back to town meeting again. Some of the things that we were worried about, like losing grant money, has come to fruition. We've already received multiple letters from the state that they're going to withhold some grant money from us until we're in compliance, and one of those grants was dredging for the North-South River, which is really important, and you know, these are our tax dollars that won't be coming back to the town. So while we're not happy with the law, you know, Milton's case did get a ruling with the Massachusetts State Supreme Court, and they said that the law is constitutional and the Attorney General has a right to enforce it. And I know that there are some folks holding out hope that we could appeal that again to the next level, to the United States Supreme Court, but there are several more levels you would have to go through to even get to that point. And the U.S. Supreme Court hears about 7 to 8, well, they receive 7 to 8,000 petitions every year, and they only hear oral arguments in about 80 cases. So I'm not confident that we would even get to that point, and the issue is that the state Supreme Court for Massachusetts said that the law is constitutional. And the issue that they had was how the state went about promulgating the regulation. So 2 examples are that they want the state to have a public hearing and public comment period, and they want them to do a small business impact study. So they're delaying it until that's done, but they said the law is constitutional. So again, I'm worried about the grant money, and I appreciate that Greg and Karen and planning and the planning board, they've put so much time and effort into this, and you know, all they're trying to do is minimize the impact of the town, and they try to come up with some clever solutions to make it as difficult as possible for someone to develop in that area. So I hope it doesn't get put in a worse area in town, and we're at the mercy of the state or developer. So, I mean, that's a concern that we have, or that I have. But again, where we are right now, I don't think we have to go to town meeting again. It's not necessary. It wasn't close. So at this point, I think we just got to ride it out and see where it goes from here.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
You know, I look at this, they call housing crisis as another comparison to COVID. You know, they make something out to be what it isn't. If you go on apartments.com, you'll see that there's over 50,000 units for rent in Boston. All right? This requires the vote of the citizens, so I don't even know how this could be constitutional. One, in regards to what you mentioned, Steve, in regards to them withholding money from the towns, which is our tax dollars. That right there in itself, especially where the tyrant in the corner office of Beacon Hill there, has announced that she's going to run for reelection. She signals to everybody that she doesn't care about you. She'll do whatever she wants, especially when your tax dollars that are supposed to be working in your best interest for the state and the community that you live in. She's willing to withhold it because you're not compliant to her demands. This zoning article requires the vote of the citizens, and the citizens have spoken, and the state should, how can you look at it, respect that vote from the citizens. In regards to the courts, I would agree with you, Mr. Darcy, that, yeah, it probably would take a while to get to the United States Supreme Courts, and the reason I would say is because I've heard the federal courts in there is probably no better, probably get a ruling much like the state courts, and I think everybody's under the impression that with the Massachusetts Supreme Court, the politics is involved in it, and that's why you got the kind of ruling that you did, in a lot of people's opinion. In regards to this form, who did this form come from, Mike?
This came from the Commonwealth to Greg Emont, and Greg sent it to us.
But who? What part of the Commonwealth body is this?
I would speculate it could have come from the Secretary of Housing.
But we don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so there's another issue right there. We don't even know where these forms are coming from. The rapid transit communities, what is that? Can you explain that, Mike?
Rapid transit, they use the term adjacent community. We used to be at one time, when I was a selectman, we were a feeder community back in 2001, 2, and 3. So they do change the terms, but under this particular thing, we're an adjacent community because if you read the legislation, Mr. Kelly, you're correct, we don't have a train station in our town. So they, in order to make it fit for many communities, they change it to adjacent. And we happen to be adjacent because we're Marshfield and the train station's in Situate.
I could see your point there, Mike. The whole thing is that it says it's a rapid transit community. So, I mean, there's language in there that I'd be concerned with, even if we were to consider approving this. The second paragraph, it is the full intention of the, and it's got it in parentheses there, whatever. Quotes, thank you. Town administrator, town manager, mayor, to take necessary actions to bring any zoning intended to comply with all requirements of General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 3A, and 760 CMR 72 to vote of municipality's legislative body in the timeframe described in this action plan to submit district compliance application to EOHLC no later than July 14, 2025. So, I guess Mike or Lynn or Steve, I mean, what do you think they mean in regards that is the full intention of the town administrator to take necessary actions to bring any zoning intended to comply with these requirements? Anybody can highlight that for me and give me an opinion on what they think they mean by that? I mean,
Well, it says town administrator, town manager, or mayor.
yeah, we don't, so
So
all these are
it's
town,
Right, it's addressed in some towns that have a town administrator. The town administrator is the chief executive officer. In our town, the chief executive officer is the chair of the Board of Selectmen. So they're the generic statement. In where there's town managers, the town manager is the chief executive officer, and of course, mayors are the chief executive officer, and 51 communities out of the 351.
So you're saying the town manager is the same as the chair of the select board?
Correct, in
this
towns that have.
reference in your
Right,
opinion?
right. I'm a town administrator. In our town charter, the town administrator is appointed by the select board. The select board chair is the chief executive officer.
So in light of the EOHLC, Executive Office Housing Livable Communities, that's who the application is to be returned to, no later than July 14th, 2025. That would be the deadline if we were going to a town meeting to ask the town for compliance. So it would be, and I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, that this particular form is likely to have come from the EOHLC.
Yeah, see, I mean, I get what you're saying, Lynn. It's, my concern is that we're, I don't know how it's written, if I have to look at the charter, as Mike said, and all that, but,
So you in favor
well,
of
hold
the
on,
action
let
plan?
me
Okay.
finish. In regards to the CEO part, I would look at all of us three as the CEOs, not just you, Lynn, and that's,
Okay.
so, because, I mean, any
Well,
kind of
would be
decision
the
has to be
vote.
made, has to go,
Yeah,
all
the
of us
vote
have
of
to be,
us,
right,
yeah.
so all of us
Yeah.
would be the CEOs. And on the second page of this, there's municipal CEO, it just has your name, Lynn. I know, I'm sure you didn't fill it out, so I'm not hanging that over your head. But,
My name's
but-
not spelled right.
oh,
No, I'm kidding.
oh, yeah, with the E missing the E. Oh, the D, yeah, okay. So, so the whole thing is, I just look at that, that's wrong, because you and I are just as an equal to her, I imagine, the vote.
The vote is,
Yeah.
the vote is the
Yes,
binding
correct.
opinion of this board.
And I do have concerns in regards to where it says the intention of the town administrator to take necessary actions to bring the zoning intended to comply with all requirements. And Mike, as far as I know Mike didn't write this, so I'm not blaming you for it. But
Yeah.
the whole thing is that, as far as Mike works for us, and the whole thing is that not for the state or anybody else. And for whatever organization sent that out, I have some serious concerns that they're trying to override our authority in regards to how we want
Well, we're
our town
here,
administrator to go about the process.
so section 5 indicates signature certifications and attestations, so.
There you go, I just had that.
Please attach a signed
Yes.
statement on municipal letterhead, including the following language. I certify that it is my full intention as title of the municipality, blah, 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 to take necessary actions to bring any zoning intended to comply with all requirements of General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 33A, and 760 CMR 72, to a vote of the municipality's legislative body, that's why we're here, in the time frame described in this action plan, and they identified 30 days, correct, Michael, from
Yes.
that date? Yes. And to submit a district compliance application to the EOHLC no later than July 14th, 2025. So we are here to ask whether or not that this action plan, if we were going to put it forward, then that would be the signature and certification.
Yes. Yep. Other than that,
Greg,
Just a
excuse me if
all
I,
right, Mike.
I was just gonna say, Madam Chair, Greg Guimond's here,
Oh, I know,
If,
he just walked in the door. Just-
and he could probably answer Mr. Kelly's questions.
I think it's more of just like a generic salutation. I don't think that it's like literally like.
Yes. So where we stand right now is I have voiced my concern with putting this back in front of town meeting. And I think Steve Darcy has also voted his concern. So the two of us are really kind of not, at this point, in favor of putting this action plan forward. Mr. Kelly has also questioned the actual legitimacy of the form and some questions regarding the signatures and certifications, because it says the town administrator, and he thinks that the town administrator reports to us, and that the vote of the board would signify that we were just either, he hasn't said if he's for it, and I'm guessing based on his history that's probably the direction that his brain's going, just putting it out there. So that's kind of where we stand right now.
So initially, it was supposed to be the chief elected official. And that's how but this latest form they came out with was it could be the town administrator. I was still going with the chief elected official. The reason I came in is because my board just asked me, what did the Board of Selectmen do?
Okay, so here you are, and now you're at, can you just identify yourself for the record, just because not everybody.
Greg Guimond, Ice House Lane, I'm the town planner.
Excellent, thank you. So you just walked in the door at the right time, or,
No, that's fine.
so, Eric, do you have any other questions in regards?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what
Maybe
Mike-
I didn't
No,
explain.
no, there was one thing that,
yeah,
I think Mike wanted, knew I was looking. Who sent this form out?
The state has it.
Okay,
And
the
if
state,
you-
what state department or,
Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities.
all right, so
The
you got
former
this from
DHCD.
EOHLC?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because I wasn't too sure. It says report back to EHLC on these things, but I didn't know where it came from. So
And
that's
it's
what I was
for the
trying-
communities that are not in compliance right now.
Oh, I could believe that. Yeah. Why would they send
Have
it,
till
why would they send
February-
it to those that have bowed the knee to everybody else, right? So, all right, that's all I wanted. You guys, so-
Thank you. Okay. So in light of the conversations that we just had, I think I'm ready to make a motion to.
Can I just make one?
Sure, please do.
This is just for Greg's benefit. We don't think the outcome would change at town meeting. So if you wanted to save time and go back to your team. You could-
We don't disagree.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Greg.
Thank you for your hard work. Okay. So here we are in action item number 1, and the board moves not to support the 2025 action plan for the MBTA communities, thus not taking the necessary actions to bring any zoning intended to comply with all requirements of Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 3A, and 760 CMR 72 to a vote of Marshfield Town Meeting in the timeframe described in this action plan, and not to submit a district compliance application to the EOHLC no later than July 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote not to submit the 2025 action plan for the MBTA communities to the office, the Executive Office of Livable Communities.
Housing and livable communities, yep. Okay. All right, thank you. We're moving on to item number 2. And item number 2 is a discussion and vote to sign the agreed-upon amendment to Treasurer-Collector Sean Strobel's contract for additional responsibilities of the revenue manager. And in front of us, we have his contract. And I am comfortable with this. Is there anything you'd like to add to it?
No, we already had a discussion at a previous meeting, so I don't have anything to add.
So this was, his existing salary will be increased $20,000 to pay parity between the positions of the treasurer collector and the town accountant, and as an enhancement to his salary for services performed, which was the subject of a First Amendment to the employment contract. Okay, any questions?
Well, like Steve says, we've already discussed it, we've already voted on it, so
All right.
that's where we're at.
All right, thank you. So the board moves to sign the Second Amendment to Sean Strobel's employment contract regarding his additional responsibilities as treasurer-collector, as voted at the Select Board's January 27, 2025 executive session, to include revenue manager with the responsibilities, goals, and objectives established in Exhibit A attached to this Second Amendment of Mr. Strobel's contract. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Are we voting on this again?
Yes.
Really? All right, nay, obviously.
Okay, passes 2 to 1.
All right, thank you.
And, I was going to ask them what action items they might be here for, Sean.
Well, Sean is here maybe for that. Excuse me, are either of you here for another action item? Or just here for, because you love to be in this chamber, it's so much fun. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so we are going to move on to item number 3. And item number 3 is a discussion and vote to sell a portion of 1929 Main Street, parcel D180205, to South Shore Habitat for Humanity for affordable housing. And this is, this piece of property, as as you may recall, was a CPC piece of property with multiple parcels involved in it. And disclosure, I am a member of the Housing Trust, and this has been something that they've been working through to try to come to some sort of a great solution for this property. And I think in conjunction with Habitat for Humanity, it will be a nice partnership for that piece of property to get into our housing stock and have it find a useful purpose. So, is there anything you'd like to add to that, Michael?
And Madam Chair, just for full disclosure, under the statute, I'm also a member of the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust. It's actually before the Select Board because in the Affordable Housing Trust, in Section 52-19, the Select Board has to sign off on the sale. As you mentioned, we would be selling this to South Shore Habitat. They would then build the affordable unit. This was voted at Article 9 at the December 16th special town meeting, supported by town meeting. And yes, I forget the date of the original that you made reference to, Madam Chair, but when this land was donated, not donated, but CPC paid for it, that one of these parcels was sectioned off for affordable housing.
Right. So the other parcels that were part of that CPC article will remain in open space, and this is the parcel that will be transferred over, just so you're aware of it.
And Madam Chair, if
Yes.
people are curious what it is, it's if they drive down Main Street, they see the 1929, and it's that house that's in pretty
Across
bad
the way
shape.
from Minot
Correct.
Motors, yeah. Okay. All righty, any questions or comments?
Town meeting voted to pass it, so I don't have any comments.
Eric?
I don't disagree with, in regards to a town meeting. The whole thing is, are we bringing this back up because of 52-19, Mike?
So, yes, Mr. Kelly, in the Housing Trust bylaw, under 5219, if the trust wants to sell, lease, there's like 5 or 6 different things. They just need to get authorization from the Select Board.
All right, I mean, I think we already, didn't we cover
Yeah,
that before in regards to, so, I mean, are we voting just because of that one section in there again?
Yeah, every time they do something, yes.
All right, okay, I'm
All
good.
right, thank you. Okay, the board moves to authorize the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust under Section 52-19 of the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust bylaws to sell a portion of 1929 Main Street, parcel D18-02-05, to South Shore Habitat for Humanity for affordable housing. The town meeting voted to adopt Article 9 on December 16th, 2024, declaring this land available for disposition by the Select Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
A unanimous vote.
Thank you. Moving on to number 4. So number 4 is an introduction only at this point of the Local Initiative Project Policy for Marshfield, which is an acronym of LIP or LIP, to be reviewed by the Select Board under their policies and procedures, to be voted on February 24th, 2025, and any recommended changes be sent to the town administrator no later than February 19th, 2025. So this is similar to our other policies where we have the information in the policy in hand, and if there's any draft changes to it, we'll discuss it at the next meeting. But I think for the benefit of what we have here, that's pretty much where we stand on it. The reason for this is to make sure that we're all on the same page as we move forward with any initiatives, and make sure that anybody that is coming across into our town hall understands the parameters and things that they're going to have to go through to have different concepts of plans or whatever begin. So that's how I have this in my head, how it's going to work out. So I
Yeah.
look forward to hearing from the two of you through Michael at our next meeting. So with that being said, I am going to just make a motion that we agree to move forward with the introduction of the local initiative project policy. And I'm going to read it. So the Select Board is introducing a local initiative project policy for Marshfield, LIP. Under the board's policy and procedures, a new policy is introduced, and the board has a week to review and send amendments or recommendations to the town administrator no later than February 19th, 2025. And the board will vote on this new policy at their February 24th, 2025 meeting. The goal of this new policy is to have a transparent process that engages with the public on Chapter 40B projects. Under this policy, a project may be recommended to the Select Board for consideration as a local initiative program project. Under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, Section 2-23, 760 CMR 56.00, and DHCD Local Initiative Program, LIP, by the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust, Marshfield Housing Authority, or any other local entity engaged in providing or improving affordable housing in Marshfield. The planning board may also recommend a project for consideration as a LIP. So it'll be interesting to see how you interpret this policy as in the draft form and how we get this finalized. So that's where we stand. I don't need to really take a motion on this.
No.
We'll just move forward off of that. Okay? So we're going to move on to number 5.
Before you
Yeah,
move on.
sure, go ahead.
Madam Chairwoman.
Yeah.
In the next meet, when we do go discuss this, is council going to be here as well as Greg Guimon, town planner?
It depends where we stand in the next couple of weeks. If the policy itself dictates that they need to be here, they'll certainly be here. So I just don't know where we stand right now, so.
Right, but I mean,
It has to
if
do
you
with
want,
the 40B,
as we go
so-
to formulate this.
Yes.
Like, I think in
Yes.
our best interest that we
Yeah.
have both, at least those two. I don't know if there's anybody else that we
Yeah.
should incorporate it into
Yeah.
this.
But
And the other,
individually, I would suggest that all of us have, if you raise questions and you need to ask those questions, that you do so, because we are select board members, so we need that transparency.
and then, the other thing on number 1, third line down, it says DHCD. I'm gonna be under that, it's supposed to be EOHLC.
EOHLC, I saw that, so I was
Okay.
reading it as well.
Other than that, I mean, we're not taking a vote on it.
No.
And then just any suggestions and amendments, just Wednesday, February 19th, Madam Chair?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
And if we need an extension of that time because there's something, just please let Michael know. And, this is a really important policy for us. We're in safe harbor, and we need to, if there's any introduction of any types of projects like this, I just want to make sure that we're all being really transparent for the benefit of the town. So-
Well, I mean, as you bring that up, that's why I'm kind of curious of this, because like you said, we're in safe harbor, so I'm just looking at what would be, I don't know who, let's put it this, I guess, who brought this forward and why do we need this policy, I guess,
Because from where I sit, I've been watching and listening and trying to understand the different logistics to all of our policies. And I found that it was interesting that there was an LIP policy that you can read and you can find online, but we don't have one specifically here in Marshfield that I was aware of. So where I was kind of trying to go down, maybe down the rabbit hole a little bit about the issues that we may be seeing coming forward, that it would be just beneficial to us to have this policy in place.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with having a discussion on that.
Yep. So, that being said, let's move on to number 5. Discussion and vote on request from Braintree Public Schools to utilize Brant Rock Beach for a field trip on June 2nd, 2025. So the fourth grade teachers at Liberty Elementary School in Braintree, and I think they do this every year, this is kind of ringing a bell, like to bring our fourth grade group of 75 students to Brant Rock Beach for tide pooling on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. We plan on arriving around 9:45 in the morning and leaving by 1 p.m. Would it be possible for you to open the public restrooms for us? We've done this trip, yes, here it is, for 20 years and are a pack in, pack out group. We're respectful of the others and we're aware of the storms sometimes affect this area and we'll take that into consideration. Okay, et cetera, et cetera. So I always loved to, I did this when we were kids, so I always loved this kind of stuff. So, of course, they need to make sure that everything is in place. That's about it. Anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
Anything you'd like to add?
They're asking if the public restrooms will be open. Are they open at that time?
They will be for this group, yes, we make.
Okay. I think that's it. I'm good. I think that's it.
Okay. So the board moves to approve the request of Kim Moran from the Liberty Elementary School in Braintree to bring their fourth grade group of 75 students to Brant Rock Beach for the tide pooling on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. They will be arriving at 9:45 a.m. and will be leaving at 1 p.m. They have done this trip for 20 years. The bathroom will be available for the students, teachers, and parents to use during their visit, pending sign-off from MPD and Marshfield Beaches. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
I just want to, you gave one date, but they also specified a couple other dates in case they didn't work.
Oh,
Do
they
you
have
want to
the
give?
backup
Do you want to give?
dates?
Yeah. Do you want to give them backup
Just in
dates
case
on that?
that
Yeah.
that doesn't go through. Just a sec.
Cindy did say that that date's fine.
Oh, if the rain or whatever, so let's add into it.
The 17th and 18th.
June 17th or Wednesday, June 18th into that motion. Just in case. Do I have a second with those two additions as far as the dates for bringing back up or whatever they need?
Second.
Thank you.
A motion been made, amended motion has been made and seconded. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
You all set with that, Jenna? I'm all set. Okay, thank you. So moving on to number 6, this is discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation on behalf of Veteran Services. And as always, we love to see these things. And this is the Town of Marshfield Veteran Services is requesting permission to accept donations in the amount of $500 from the Massachusetts Elks Charitable Trust. The donation will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or the financial need of our veterans and their dependents. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for the donation.
Any questions or comments?
No, just like Steve, I just thank the Elks for their, the nice donation.
Yep. The board moves to approve on behalf of the Veteran Services a $500 donation from the Marshfield Elks Charitable Trust. The donation will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or the financial need of our veterans and their dependents. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the donation.
Number 7 is a discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation on behalf of animal control. Oops. This is an official request to accept the donation in the check of the amount of $200 by Thomas Gallagher. These funds will directly be deposited into our department's donation account and will go directly towards the care of the animals housed at the Marshfield Animal Shelter, cared for by the Marshfield Animal Control Officers. Respectfully submitted by Alexander Forbes, our officer. Okay, any questions or comments?
No, thank you. Thank you for the donation.
Yep, all right,
Thank you for the donation, yes.
thank you. Number 7 is the board moves to approve on behalf of Marshfield Animal Control, Alexander Forbes, ACO, a donation in the amount of $200 from Thomas Gallagher. These funds will be deposited into the ACO's donation account and will be used for the care of the animals housed at the Marshfield Animal Shelter, cared for by the Marshfield Animal Control Officers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Thank you. Number 8, discussion and vote on appointment of Suzanne Almendinger to the Council on Aging Board as an alternate member. So Carol Hamilton has put forward this person for consideration, and I had an opportunity to talk with her as well over the past few months, and I would also be in favor of this new candidate. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a background. So her qualifications are uniquely set to serve on the COA board and would be a superb candidate in helping them move forward. And she was unanimously recommended to the select board by the Council on Aging. And she has provided a resume, and in her professional career, she retired from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and has been working really hard as a volunteer. She is on the board of directors for the Marshfield Council on Aging, and that's what, she's applying for that. But in the past 12 years, she has been a director of the Marshfield COA Boosters, a private nonprofit organization with a sole mission to provide financial support to the Marshfield Council on Aging Senior Center. In this capacity, I served as treasurer for 8 years and president for 4 years. The bylaws require me to step down from the boosters after 12 years of service. I have a strong desire to continue to be of service to the senior population of Marshfield. And so she's also, in addition to that, she has been working as a tax preparer for senior citizens at the COA Senior Center and working with the AARP Foundation Tax Aid Program. So she has the wherewithal and the interest, and she's been doing it for quite a long time. So these are always, it's always great to see people that have that commitment to the town. Anything you'd like to add?
No, Suzanne's great. I worked with her back in 2019 with respect to the campaign for the addition to the senior center. She's very well organized, really hard worker, and as you kind of covered, she's been a huge part of the boosters for the senior center. So she'll be a great fit. She'll be a very involved and active member.
Exactly. Anything you'd like to add, Eric?
No, I just want to thank her for her volunteer service at the senior center. I'm sure everybody there is grateful for it, and continue on doing the good work she does.
Great, thank you. The board moves to appoint Suzanne Almendinger to fill the vacant position of alternative member for the Council on Aging Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve, to appoint Susan Almendinger to fill the position of alternative member of the Council on Aging.
Okay, moving on. Number 9 is a discussion and vote on appointments of Heather White and Michael Bilas to the Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee. So I'm going to start with Heather White. She was interested in joining the Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee, and she's in her second term as a non-veteran trustee of the Veterans Memorials. And given her experience with the veterans in the town of Marshfield, she feels she's uniquely qualified to support this committee now and in the future. History, specifically that of New England and the United States, is a hobby and interest of hers, thus culminating in a particular skill set and synergy ideal for this committee. And she's also offered her experience, disabled. She was a member of 2007 to the present, 2nd Junior Vice Commander, Disabled American Veterans Auxiliary Unit 35, Marshfield, Mass., 2012 to 22. She was also Marshfield Veterans Council member from 2015 to present, and she was clerk from 2016 to 2019. She was also trustee of the Veterans Memorial, Town of Marshfield, trustee 2018 to present, and clerk. So that is quite a lot, and we're grateful to have her asking to be on this committee. So we also have Michael Bylas, and he is also interested in this. And he has been a resident of Marshfield since 1981 and has served the public in various roles. I don't have anything else on. Michael, do you have anything else on?
Michael
Mike, yeah.
Bylas, yeah, he's been serving on the CPC for a number of years.
Okay, thank you. Current member of the CPC for 3 terms, served on the Waterways, was a founding member of the Recreational Trails Committee. All righty. Any further questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Eric?
Just thanking for
Okay.
serving our town.
Yep. Sorry. The board moves to appoint Heather White and Michael Bylas to the Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve Heather White and Michael Bylas to the Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee.
I'm going to ask for a 2-minute recess just because I'm having a little coughing thing, just to get a water. I'll be right back. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote for a 3-minute recess.
Make a motion to return to our regular meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to return and continue the business of the Select Board.
Okay, we're on item number 10. Discussion and vote on application for 2 temporary liquor licenses for the North River Arts Society. So the date of this event is March 8th, 6 to 8 p.m. Location is 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills. And this is the festival poster competition and exhibit reception. So wine and malt beverages only. Copy of the liquor liability insurance naming the town of Marshfield as additionally insured. Copy of tips, certification, and this event will be held indoors. Okay. So that was for March 8th. We also have the same society having an event on Saturday, April 5th, from 6 to 8 p.m. And the description of this event is a focus on figures exhibit reception, and the location of the event is at the same location. This is also wine and malt beverages only. Tip certified is will be provided. It's also indoors. And then we have our tip certifications. We have Allison Ann Arnone, and Mary Jo Wilds. We have Town of Marshfield as a certificate holder. And the insured is listed here as well. Policy period is May 9th of 2024 to May 9th of 2025, obviously within that realm. Okay. That's it. Any questions or comments, Steve?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, the festival poster competition and exhibit reception. Do we know, do you know what that is, Mike?
There was I only know because I somehow I get their circular. It was to create a poster that they would use for their festival. So they have the
Figures
different
would be-
juries, that they call the juries, those different groups, one could be watercolor, one could be oil, one could be, so they do them all, then they're gonna pick from them and they're having a reception.
Interesting. And the focus on figures exhibit reception? Do you know what that is?
I don't.
I was just thinking, as these, especially like the North River Art Society and others, if they can give us a brief description of what they're asking for, because that way we can share it with the public. I think that would be helpful.
Sure,
All
absolutely.
right. That's it, Madam Chairwoman.
All right. I'd like to move forward on these motions. The board moves to approve a temporary indoor wine and malt beverage license for Michaela DePaula, DePaula, for the North River Art Society of Marshfield Hills for Saturday, March 8th, 2025, from 6 to 8 p.m. for their festival poster competition and exhibit reception. That will take place at 157 Old Main Street, the Gar Hall, pending sign-off from MPD, copies of tip certification, and a copy of the liquor liability insurance, naming the town of Marshfield as additionally insured. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Yeah, unanimous vote to approve the temporary indoor wine and malt beverage license for March 8th for the North River Art Society.
Okay, and the second part of this is the board moves to approve a temporary indoor wine and malt beverage license for Michaela DePaula for the North River Art Society of Marshfield Hills for Saturday, April 5th, 2025, from 6 to 8 p.m. for their Focus on Figures exhibit. Reception will take place at 157 Old Main Street, the Gar Hall, pending sign-off from MPD, copies of tip certification, and a copy of the liquor liability insurance naming the town of Marshfield as additionally insured. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous approval by the board for a temporary indoor wine and malt license for the North River Art Society for Saturday, April 5th.
Okay, thank you. So number 11 is a discussion vote on request for permission to hold Run to the Rock road race on September 6th, 2025. So I believe this is the second year with this, Michael?
Yes.
So they're requesting the use of the public roads for the Run to the Rock 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon road races to take place on Saturday, September 6th, 2025, beginning at 8 a.m., starting and ending at the Marshfield High School. Attached, please find the proposed course maps. There'll be volunteers and course markings located through the route to ensure runners are directed along the correct roads. Additionally, there will be volunteers, staffed water stops along the route. Police details and EMTs will be on site as recommended by those departments. Okay. And I think last year it was a success. I know it was a success. I remember hearing about it. But these are big races. Run to the Rock 10K. Big races. Okay. Fire recommends a two-person EMS detail with a vehicle to follow runners along the route. And Jason Lucetti, Marshfield Police, has been in contact with Anne Marie about this event, and they can finalize number of details needed as it becomes closer. I would suggest adding Officer Michael DeMeo. I'm unsure of the events Grant Rock might have planned already. Thank you. So is that, are they going down in Brant Rock? I thought it was up at the high school.
So there's 3 different legs of
I'm
it,
looking
Madam
back
Chair.
at it, yep.
Yeah, the 10K looks like it goes from the high school all the way up to somewhere in North Marshfield. Mm-hmm. Those are like anywhere near Brant Rock.
Well, in any event, the email is there, so they're on it where it will be and needing the number of details. Okay,
And Madam Chair, they
Yes.
actually have a website. This is actually their 30th year.
oh, they're what?
Their 30th year of
Oh.
Run to the Rock. They've expanded into Marshfield, you're correct. This is their second year.
In Marshfield.
2024, right, in 2024, the proceeds, and I just thought if I may, because I know usually Mr.
Yeah.
Kelly would ask this. So in 2024, the proceeds, they were able to help, they support the Boys and Girls Club of Plymouth and the Boys and Girls Club of Marshfield.
Okay. All right. Any further questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. The board moves to approve on behalf of Anne Marie Winchester of South Shore Race Management for their Run to the Rock 5K, 10K, and a half marathon road races to take place on Saturday, September 6th, 2025, beginning at 8 a.m., starting and ending at Marshfield High School, pending sign-offs from MPD with police details as requested, Marshfield Fire Department with fire details as requested, and Marshfield Schools. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the Run to the Rock 5K, 10K, and half marathon.
Okay, thank you. And finally, this evening, we have in front of us January 3rd, 13th, January 27th, and 31st minutes of 2025. And if there's any comments or questions on those, I looked at them, it was fine. Steve, you good?
I'm all good, yep.
Eric, you good?
Yeah, I was on correction on one of them today.
Was it
that
a Scrivener?
No, I don't, let me see, just in case it didn't get relayed to you.
What date?
That's a good question. I think
Right
it
at
was
the
the
top.
third. Actually, it might have been this one.
What's it, the executive session one?
Yeah. It's, yeah, it
I
was.
sent you, yeah, I gave Jenna.
Maybe
the
it's,
info.
I don't know what happened to it. She made a note on it. Now I can't,
Which one is the executive session?
I think we
I'll
have
just
two of them
suspend it.
outstanding, right?
It was the one with the fire chief.
Yes, oh, here it is.
Salary,
Underneath
yeah.
the paperwork. All right, there it is.
Or it's executive session, I'll
There
just
you go,
read
she
it,
just
thank
did
you. Okay, that's fine.
It's fine.
Okay. Just make a note. January 3rd. Okay. So the board moves to approve meeting minutes from January 3rd with the insert as shown to the board on page 2, paragraph 1. The meeting minutes of January 13th, January 27th, January 31st of 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the minutes from those dates.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Yep.
Is there one more sheet there?
Yeah, this is just one.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Seeing no
Oh,
further.
and Madam Chair, we have the one additional item for the
Oh,
update.
item.
That's a disclosure.
Yep, wait a minute. Give me a second. I think it's behind me here. Item number 12 is, I mentioned in the beginning, was the amended portion of our agenda, and it was posted at 4:41 on February 10th. And this is to accept a disclosure from our town administrator regarding financial interest as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 19. And this disclosure is being filed because the town administrator serves on Mayflower Municipal Health Group Steering Committee. And I am fine with this disclosure and have been aware of it in the past.
Madam Chair, if I may, just
Yes,
so for
please.
full disclosure, so on advice of counsel, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I found out on the weekend when I'm reviewing my stuff that we had a meeting. I'll be voting tomorrow, so I had to update the select board agenda to add this because I didn't know 48 hours prior to that I had the meeting.
Okay,
So this needs to come before the board because I am voting on the rates for Plymouth County Healthcare, which I derive a benefit because I get healthcare from the town, and my wife also works for the town, and she gets the benefit, so that's why you're required by law to file 268A, Section 19, and tomorrow we'll be voting on the rates for the insurance at the
okay.
steering committee.
And you were just made aware of this?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So we just would accept this as a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
There are a number of municipal officials who are part of the steering committee for Mayflower Municipal Health, and it's in good shape, so I don't
Yes,
have any
as we
issues.
heard earlier this evening.
Yeah.
31 million in our stabilization
Yes.
fund.
Yeah. Eric, have any questions or comments?
I have to ask, what would be your financial interest in this?
Because I'd be voting on rates, so depending on how I vote on the rates, they would affect what I pay, you know, because we're a 50/50 community.
Right. Okay.
All right, and so then I'm going to make a motion that we accept this disclosure from our town administrator regarding financial interest as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 19. This disclosure is being filed because the town administrator serves on the Mayflower Municipal Health Group Steering Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the disclosure from the town administrator.
All right, thank you. Seeing there is no further business, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting of February 10th, 2025. The time is 8:25. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adjourn the select board meeting for February 10th, 2025.
Okay, thank you.